Democracia Ya, Now Democracy protest started in the Puerta del Sol in Madrid, in Spain. It's since spread all over Spain, and not just that, it's spread all over Europe. And even yesterday in Greece, in Athens, thousands of people came to the streets to say no, that they've had enough. To discuss this more, I'm joined here by Raul Romeva, the Catalan MEP from the Green Group here in the European Parliament. Thanks very much for having a coffee with me this morning. So what's your reaction to this whole thing? Are you surprised, or were you expecting something like this to happen in your country?
I'm pretty much optimistic, I have to say, because I have the feeling that for once the people has reacted in a way that might have an effect. It might have an effect at the social level, but it might have an effect also at the political level, which is the goal. So to me, all those movements first have shown that people have enough, and that's something which is the main message. That's it. We cannot stand that way anymore. But second, they are not simply saying that's it. They're simply as well. They're also saying how they perceive and how they want the things have to change.
And what are they saying they've had enough of? First of all, they've had enough of corrupt politicians, I'm hearing.
Well,
they've had enough of the electoral lay they wanted to be reformed.
I think there are several messages, because one, obviously, political corruption is one of the main problems, and is a big problem in Spain. But mostly, what I understand is that there is a global mood of frustration, not only with political institutions in itself, but also with the fact that there are some actors, banks, financial sectors, that are completely impune of whatever it happens with the global crisis. So it's true, there is a part focused on the politicians, on the political groups, but also another criticism that goes to some institutions that are perceived as being the power without being elected. And that's why they call also Democracia Ya, in the sense that, well, we are not even voting those who are taking the rules and making the norms that are applying to us.
And is the message being heard? I mean, they're very adamant. They've been there since the 15th and they're still there. I believe they're saying they'll stay till the 15th of June. You can see on their website they're very, very active.
Yeah.
But is the message being heard?
Well, that's the point. I mean, I have to, when you see also the political groups, I mean, there is a huge difference among them. I personally come from these movements, and I became politician in certain circumstances, but obviously not everybody is listening the same way. That's what I understand according to the messages we heard after the elections, the municipal elections last Sunday. Some people are saying, well, this is simply an anecdote. Some of us are saying, listen, this is the origin of a huge civilization revolution. And I think that's important. The politicians, the people who is doing politics at the institutional level, not only have to listen what they are saying. Some of
like
them,
yourself, basically.
Like myself, actually, my circumstance is that I not only heard, but I share. And we try also to spread this message also in the institutions. What is the main problem? That we are in a minority in many of the votings that we're doing. So my message there, my personal position is that this is very important, it's crucial, it's necessary, it's vital. But if we don't convert this also in a changing of current majorities in the institutions, nothing's going to change. Because let's see also the results of the elections in the municipal. It was a huge movement in the streets, but when you see the results of the elections, it's precisely the European, the PP actually, who won the elections.
The right wing
so that means that there's a lot of people who was not on the street, who was not in the squares, who went to vote, and they want to change also things in another completely different way. So that's also something that we have to bear in mind. That's a part of the way to change things, but this is not enough.
And do you think now that this momentum will keep up? I mean, we've seen that like magical spirit in Puerta del Sol, something like Tahrir Square, but do you think they'll keep it up? I mean,
I hope that we'll keep it, because it will be a really huge mistake to stop it now. I think that the huge added value of this movement is that it's starting to change the way the society is organizing themselves. And it's very important that we perceive one thing first. There were a lot of people in the squares and in the streets, but then when the people went to vote, there were also a lot of people who vote for those precisely that have been leading the crisis themselves. So this is also a message that we have to bear in mind. So if we don't change majorities in the institutions, nothing is going to change.
And I believe that one protester did get her voice heard inside the Parliament yesterday at the Petitions Committee, and she was heard and she actually got applauded.
Well, that's normal. I mean, that's a feeling a lot of people, not only among the people who attended the meeting, but also among the MEPs, were absolutely not only satisfied but enthusiastic of the move, because the feeling that you have sometimes here is that you try to make things to change, but the big majority opposing to you, it's too big. It's simply too big. You cannot change things when you don't have the majority in the institutions.
True, yeah.
So in that sense, I understand that there is a crucial need for keeping this momentum simply alive and thinking that this is not only a local initiative, this is a global.
Sure, I mean, it's spreading as well, isn't it? We've seen it in Athens.
It's spreading.
Do you think it'll spread now to the other kind of countries, perfect countries,
sure.
Portugal?
I'm sure.
Ireland?
I mean, now it's impossible to stop. This is a wave. It's a huge wave that is going to affect all countries, all member states for sure, but probably more than Europe.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was Raul Romeva from the Green Group here in the European Parliament. Thanks very much for having a coffee with me.